Oh shit, dude, one of the guys from our Facebook died.
New pictures have emerged of what's thought to be the man driving.
Footage showing British Muslims fighting alongside rebel forces in Syria.
A man who's believed to have carried out a suicide.
When I look at the foreign fighters, I think it's important to understand them as human beings, as individuals. So what we've been doing is to collect the social media accounts of numerous foreign fighters who are in Syria at the moment.
The Syrian conflict is probably one of the most socially mediated conflicts in history.
The generation of people who are fighting in Syria have often grown up with social media as something completely normal.
Facebook, Twitter, AskFM, Tumblr, Instagram.
This conflict has generated more information than any other conflict before in history.
It is not easy to stand in front of a tank while it launches at you.
People can get real-time updates of everything that's going on in the conflict from people who are on the ground.
Propaganda, live from the battlefields, motivating others to come and join them.
This guy is out there, look at that massive knife he's holding, and he's inside of a USAID tent. And then there he is in the back of a truck with an AK. This is a new guy, I haven't seen him before. This guy says, I missed you in the villa in Heratain. Heratain is in Syria. He's got a lot of stuff. He's got ceasefire letters too. I found a couple new guys from this guy's account.
God, he looks like a young Peter Andre.
From pencil mustaches and clubbing, look how far he's come.
Identifying a foreign fighter is not really that difficult. You start with 2 or 3 of them, and really you look at their followers on Twitter, you look at their friends on Facebook. So if 2 or 3 foreign fighters have 5 or 6 common friends who also happen to be in Syria, these are the people you're going to investigate further. And the more you have, the easier it becomes.
The account just opened 6th of March. Let's watch this thing.
Yeah, okay.
It could be a fake account.
Yeah.
We're not hackers, we're not employing secret techniques. We're using only information that foreign fighters, for one reason or another, have chosen to make available to the public. There is, however, software called Palantir, Gephi and Node Excel that makes it easier for you to analyze some of that, to plot social networks, to have nice graphs.
This is a network map showing here who are the most important people in terms of Facebook likes. And we can identify by the size of the nodes that you see here. What jumped out at us was that here were 2 sheikhs, Ahmed Musa Jibril and Musa Serantonio, that we didn't know very much about, but they clearly had a great deal of importance.
Ahmad Jibril, who is an American-based preacher, was liked by an astonishing number of foreign fighters in Syria. Up to 60% of foreign fighters followed him on Twitter. There were lots of conversations about his sermons. I should make it clear there's no evidence we have that Ahmad Jibril is himself involved in any of these groups. Or that he's part of the command and control structure. He's simply seen as a figure of inspiration.
This is the guy, Ahmed Musa Jibril.
Wallahi, if your heart doesn't melt to what's happening in Syria, then your faith is in doubt.
You get the news of what's happening in Syria? Has the internet not carried through the genocide of what the Rafida are doing to your brothers in Syria? Are there not heroic souls with lofty ambitions? Are there no helpers and defenders of the righteous?
Another one of the individuals that we name in our report is an Australian of Italian descent, Musa Serantonio, popular among foreign fighters on Facebook and Twitter.
The one who fights on the battlefields is the greatest of people. But not every Muslim is honored to be a mujahid for the sake of Allah. This is the greatest of deeds.
We've seen in a number of cases that the internet was instrumental in getting people into Syria. For example, people who were thinking about becoming foreign fighters went onto AskFM.
AskFM is a great platform for these guys because it doesn't operate like Twitter, it doesn't constrain the message, and it allows them to take questions anonymously. So people from all over the world tend to post questions about how much money to bring. So someone here is asking about daily food rations. So he explains that everyone eats together. If a person wants more, they can have more, but it's not advisable to eat too much if you're a mujahid. He says, we have too much luxury here. We don't live as guerrilla warriors as they did in Afghanistan or Chechnya. A lot of the early messaging was kind of farcical and humorous. It was focused around the 5-star jihad, and they said they were doing that to show people back in the West just how comfortable life could be in Syria. But there has been a move away from that.
When you come to these lands, You act the Islam. You are the Islam people want to see and know. So you don't just come here and you put on a tactical vest, you grab a Kalashnikov, short thobe, big beard, short trousers and khalas. No, brothers, please. It's not like road. This is trial and tribulations, this is fitna.
This is a guy who, in many senses, started our research. I found him completely by chance one day, tweeting from Syria. I just reached out to him through Twitter. He would tell me about his experiences in Syria, what he was up to, what he wanted to do there. We wanted to use the software to really keep an eye out for any news that might emerge about him. We knew that Iftikhar was going on a battle. This was his first battle.
We've got this one tweet that comes out at December 16th, 9:51 p.m. It says, "May Allah accept the martyrdom of our brother Ajman. He is truly an inspiration to us all." So that's the first tweet announcing his death. But then we have this incredible spike in the number of people retweeting and people eulogizing him.
Do I think the people who go to fight in Syria are terrorists? I think it's too broad a question. The fighters we speak to broadly belong to two categories. Ones who have existing histories and patterns of radical behavior back in their home countries, for whom Syria is really just the fight they've been wanting to have. He really represents the other type of foreign fighter in this conflict, someone who is well integrated and otherwise a productive and ordinary member of British society, but who's chosen to go to Syria because they're outraged through their Muslim desire, but outraged about the humanitarian crisis out there.
In recent weeks, there's been a string of Syria-related arrests in the UK, and more Britons are heading out there.
My impression with intelligence agencies is that they are collecting a lot of data, but they are not necessarily doing a lot with it. When I look at what 3 or 4 people in a basement on the Strand are able to accomplish, it really surprises me that the same amount of insight cannot be produced by much larger organizations that also have the ability to actually hack into accounts. They always seem to be surprised by how much we're able to find out.
They follow everything that happens in the UK very, very closely. They are very upset about the arrest. Their argument is, look, we've come here to Syria to help the Syrian people. No one can dispute the brutality of Assad or the illegitimacy of his regime. Why is the government not just cracking down on us, but using terrorism legislation and seeking to sort of marginalise us and dismiss us in this way?
And so they definitely wouldn't see themselves as terrorists?
None of them see themselves as terrorists, while some of these guys are clearly problematic. The vast majority of people who go to Syria, including those who fight, actually don't pose any problems. 1 in 9 is what the evidence shows.
Even 1 in 15, 1 in 20 is still
well,
a fairly substantial
you're looking
number.
about 37 people, right? Difficulty from your perspective and from government's perspective is how do you hone in on those 1 in 9 and isolate them without marginalising and stigmatising this other pool of people?